Harris, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar facing some significant fallout after making these harsh comments following the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
There is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that, his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade. These people are full of and it's important for us to call them out.
Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn took offense, reacting on X, quote, Ilhan shows no remorse in slandering an honorable man who was brutally murdered in cold blood for the entire world to see. As many grieve the loss of a husband, father, and patriotic American, Ilhan has chosen a divisive and dangerous path.
The hearing opened in a tense and emotional atmosphere as Ilhan Omar prepared to defend herself. The room was clearly divided. Her supporters, including AOC and Rashida Tlaib, sat nearby, ready to back her up. Across the aisle, critics like Nicole Malliotakis and Lisa McClain waited for their turn to speak. Cameras focused on Omar's face, calm at first glance. But the pressure beneath was visible. AOC spoke first, her voice steady but passionate. She accused the chamber of turning political disagreement into personal punishment. This isn't about accountability, she said firmly. This is about trying to silence a woman for speaking her truth. Her words spread a ripple of murmurs through the room, the tension almost visible. She sat down quietly, confidence in her posture, while her supporters nodded in agreement. Then Nicole Malliotakis took the microphone. Her tone was controlled but sharp. She accused Omar of dividing rather than uniting, and of showing little regard for the country she serves. You've used your platform, she said, not to bring people together, but to challenge the values that make this institution strong. Her words struck a chord, and the room stirred with uneasy whispers. For the first time, Omar's composure seemed to slip. The moment felt raw, emotional, and deeply personal. Everyone could sense it.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlelady from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to use that logic, well, then all those people should have just said sorry and we'd move on, right? But no, we don't do that. And let me tell you, I take a little bit of offense to what the hell is wrong with me. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with me. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to hold the Constitution, and it's very simple. We really shouldn't even have this debate. If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry. So we can try all of the diversion tactics that we would like. It doesn't change the fact that someone broke the law and that someone should be held accountable. It is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, that their own party can't hold them accountable, that they have such hypocrisy. So with that, I yield 2 minutes to my friend from New York.
The gentleman yielded, and the gentlewoman from Michigan took the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, she began firmly. If we start accepting simple apologies for serious actions, then anyone could just say sorry and walk away. But that's not how responsibility works. Actions have consequences, and people must be held accountable. Her tone grew sharper as she continued. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with standing up for what's right. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and I intend to honor that. I won't apologize for doing my duty. She went on to say that the issue was straightforward. When rules are broken, accountability must follow. We can argue all day or spin the story however we want, she said. But the facts don't change. Responsibility isn't something we apply based on politics. Before closing, she expressed disappointment that some lawmakers refuse to hold their own side to the same standards. The double standard is obvious, she said, and it's wrong. Then she yielded 2 minutes to her colleague from New York. OC stood up quickly, her face determined and voice full of emotion. She passionately defended Ilhan Omar, arguing that the accusations were unfair and motivated by bias. History, she said firmly, will not look kindly on those who use their power to silence women who speak out. Her words grew stronger as she looked across the chamber. If you truly believe in free speech, she added, then stop using it as a weapon against your colleagues. The room erupted instantly. Cheers and shouts filled the air as both sides reacted. When Lisa McClain took her turn, the mood shifted once again. Calm but resolute, she delivered one of the day's sharpest criticisms. She accused Omar of repeatedly showing disregard for American principles, saying that such behavior shouldn't be ignored, especially on key committees. We can disagree on policies, McClain said, but loyalty to this nation is not something we debate. Her remarks drew strong applause from her side of the room. Omar remained seated, composed yet visibly strained, blinking back emotion as the tension in the chamber deepened. Every word now carried the weight of division and determination.
Nicole Malliotakis.
Gentlelady is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to the gentlelady from the great state of New York, Nicole Malliotakis.
The gentlewoman from New York is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee, but I feel like all the reasons have not just yet been stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well. I've been in that committee room where the representative equates Israel and the United States to Hamas and the Taliban. Absolutely unacceptable for a member of that committee. I've also heard the representative equate that it is the United States' fault that there is turmoil in Venezuela, that is not because of the oppressive socialist and communism that has spread throughout Central and South America and Venezuela at the hands of the Maduro and Hugo Chavez regimes. That is unacceptable. And as a New York representative, to hear the representative belittle, to try to diminish the worst terrorist attack on United States soil on September 11, 2001, as some people did something, that is unacceptable as well. And I hold the same standard for this side of the aisle that I do the other, because when another colleague on my side said something about 9/11, I also voted to have her removed from the Education Committee because I thought that was inappropriate. So I'm being consistent here, and I hope my colleagues will do the same to show that this is about consistency and accountability, because we should not have an individual with those views on the committee that is tasked with representing our country and our Congress to foreign nations. I yield back.
Then Rashida Tlaib stepped forward, her face already streaked with tears before she even began. Her voice shook as she spoke in defense of Ilhan Omar, calling the constant criticism against her unfair, cruel, and deeply against the values the nation stands for. She reminded everyone that Omar had endured threats, online hate, and non-stop attacks, yet continued to show up each day to serve her country with dedication. You don't have to agree with her, Tlaib said through her tears, but you must acknowledge her humanity. Her words brought the chamber to a standstill. The usual chatter stopped. Even some of Omar's strongest critics looked down, their expressions uneasy as emotion took over the room. For a rare moment, politics faded away, replaced by something deeply personal and human. When Ilhan Omar finally stood to speak, her tone was calm but full of emotion. She spoke about her life, how she fled a country torn by war, came to America seeking safety, and built her future on the values of freedom and equality. I'm not perfect, she said softly, but I've always tried to stand for what's right. Turning toward her critics, Malliotakis and McClain, she added that while she respected their right to disagree, she firmly rejected any claim that she lacked loyalty to the United States. You can challenge my ideas, she said with steady resolve, but you cannot question my love for this country. For a long moment, the entire chamber stayed silent. No interruptions, no side comments, just stillness. Every person seemed to feel the weight of her words, each sentence carrying quiet strength and truth.
Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House floor for 1 minute and extend and revise my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to congratulate my colleagues on voting to remove Representative Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. The passage of H.R. 76 sends a strong message that we support Israel and the Jewish community. I urge the 118th Congress to now stand together, proudly upholding every single American, no matter race, pedigree, religion, nor creed, as any less American than their neighbor. That Jewish Americans are patriotic Americans, and that we all have a role in fighting bigotry and anti-Semitism in our country. We must make sure that the House of Representatives reflects such principles as a united body. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise.
But the silence didn't last long. Nicole Malliotakis quickly responded, saying Ilhan Omar's words came too little, too late. She accused Omar of portraying herself as a victim and argued that real patriotism is proven through actions, not speeches. Her tone was sharp and direct, and almost instantly, the tension inside the chamber started climbing again. That Omar's calm expression began to fade as frustration and emotion crossed her face. AOC and Rashida Tlaib leaned toward her, quietly urging her to stay steady. But the criticism didn't stop. The room grew louder, voices overlapping, lawmakers talking and shouting over each other. Cameras caught Omar fighting to hold her composure, blinking rapidly as the noise surrounded her. The atmosphere turned chaotic, and order seemed to slip away. Then AOC stood up again, her anger unmistakable. "This is not justice," she shouted, her voice cutting through the uproar. "This is a spectacle." She accused the committee of turning the hearing into a political show rather than a fair discussion. Her words sent shockwaves through the chamber. Some members clapped in support, while others shouted back in protest. Refusing to back down, AOC continued with full conviction. "You're not removing her because of misconduct," she declared. "You're doing it because you're threatened by her influence." Her voice rang out across the hall, powerful and emotional. It was one of her boldest moments on the floor, passionate, fearless, and impossible for anyone to ignore.
Mr. Speaker, freedom of speech is the beating heart of a democracy. It's the entire reason that this building exists, so that we can talk out our differences. Free societies do not fear free speech, even when that speech is hateful or malignant or stupid. Free societies recognize that the only way to separate fact from fiction, love from hate, truth from lies, wisdom from folly, or good from evil, is to put them side by side and to trust the people to know the difference. No central authority must ever be given the power to take this vital freedom away from the people or to punish anyone solely for expressing their opinions. Now, we based our entire form of government on the assumption that when exposed to all sides and all viewpoints, more than half the people are going to get it right more than half the time. This assumption has served us well through the centuries. The left rejects this premise. For many years, leftists have told us that speech is violence and can be answered with violence. This justifies their shouting down opponents and disrupting peaceful assemblies. We've repeatedly watched leftist mobs burn our cities, loot shopkeepers, and assault people on the streets while leftist politicians egg them on. We see the growing physical attacks on law enforcement. The left used the FBI to suppress debate on critical issues ranging from COVID lockdowns to Biden family influence peddling to climate hysteria. It's called for government commissions to regulate it. In Europe, leftist governments now criminalize it. Now, I raise these points because a member of this House recently made some truly vile and despicable remarks about Charlie Kirk after his brutal assassination. Her words should be loudly and universally condemned. Now, last night on the House floor, a resolution of censure was brought against her in the name of Charlie Kirk to formally punish her for her hateful rhetoric. But what did Charlie Kirk say about hate?
Moments before the final vote, Lisa McClain stood once more. Her tone was calm but resolute as she said, "We are not silencing Ilhan Omar. We are upholding the standards of this institution." Her words were steady, not hostile, yet everyone knew the outcome was already decided. Across the chamber, Omar sat quietly, head lowered, gripping her notes as tears began to fall. The fiery strength she showed earlier had softened into visible heartbreak. Cameras caught the moment, Omar wiping her eyes, an image that soon became the emotional symbol of the entire hearing. When the gavel struck, the decision was final. Omar was officially removed from her committee seat. The room erupted with mixed reactions, applause from some, disbelief and tears from others. AOC and Rashida Tlaib rushed to Omar's side, embracing her as camera flashes filled the chamber. Omar looked up, her voice soft but firm. "You may remove me from this seat," she said, "but you will not remove my voice." The three women walked out together, their unity a quiet act of defiance amid the uproar outside. Reporters crowded around them as they stepped into the cold air. AOC spoke first, her voice steady but emotional. "Today was not a victory for democracy. It was a warning," she said. Rashida Tlaib added that the vote showed how easily truth could be overshadowed by politics. Omar, standing beside them with red eyes and a scarf wrapped around her shoulders, was asked if she had any regrets. "I have none," she answered simply. That short statement dominated headlines that night. A moment of dignity, strength, and resilience. Later that evening, Nicole Malliotakis appeared on television with a composed expression, defending the decision as a matter of accountability. She said the vote was necessary to restore trust in Congress. Her comments quickly sparked debate online. Supporters praised her for standing firm, while critics accused her of singling Omar out unfairly. Social media split into two loud camps, with hashtag #StandWithOmar and hashtag accountability now trending nationwide. That night, Ilhan Omar gave an emotional interview. Her tone was calm, but her words carried pain. "I wasn't removed for wrongdoing," she said quietly. "I was removed for who I am." She spoke about the toll of constant scrutiny, the questioning of her loyalty, and her gratitude to those who continued to stand with her. The interview spread rapidly, seen as a message of strength and perseverance in the face of rejection. Meanwhile, Lisa McClain held a press conference, standing by the vote. She insisted the decision wasn't personal, but about maintaining equal standards. "Politics is emotional," she said, "but emotions don't erase consequences." Her calm, detached tone reignited debate across news networks and social platforms. Many compared her composure with Omar's visible emotion, deepening public division. That same night, AOC went live on social media. Her eyes were red as she described the day as one of the hardest she had witnessed in Congress. "Watching Ilhan cry broke me," she admitted. For over an hour, she spoke directly to her followers, calling for empathy and courage in leadership. Thousands of supporters flooded the comments with words of encouragement, turning the broadcast into a collective show of solidarity. The next day, Rashida Tlaib returned to the House floor unexpectedly. With tears streaming down her face, she said, "We may have lost a committee seat, but we have not lost our moral compass." Her words drew quiet applause from some and silence from others who looked away. Even her critics later admitted that her sincerity was impossible to ignore as the controversy spread. News outlets replayed speeches from both sides, analyzing tone, emotion, and motive. Some praised Malliotakis and McClain for staying disciplined. Others accused them of being unnecessarily harsh. Talk shows and panels filled the airwaves. One commentator called it the most emotional hearing in recent congressional history. The debate had evolved beyond politics, turning into a national reflection on empathy, fairness, and what it truly means to serve. Back home, Ilhan Omar was welcomed by hundreds of supporters carrying signs and chanting her name. As she took the stage, she smiled through tears. "You've shown me what real love and solidarity look like," she told the crowd. Her message was simple and heartfelt, a thank you to those who refused to give up on her. For many, it felt like more than a rally. It was a moment of healing and unity that in the days that followed, Congress returned to its usual rhythm, but the echoes of that hearing lingered. AOC, Tlaib, and Omar became symbols of resilience and conviction, while Malliotakis and McClain were seen by others as defenders of accountability and order. Both sides claimed a form of victory, but the emotional mark of that day remained. Analysts later described it as a defining moment, a clash of values, identity, and principle that captured the attention of an entire nation.